Time now for Fantasy Football Today for CBS Local Sports. I'm Jamie Eisenberg. That's Heath Cummings. We have the starts and sits you need to get your lineups right for week number 11. Let's get right to it with the start of the week here on CBSSports.com. It's Mike Davis, and as you see, we are very excited about Mike Davis. Could be the first time in a while. He hasn't been great replacing Christian McCaffrey of late, but no McCaffrey this week against the Lions, and boy, what a dream matchup it is. The Lions allow the most fantasy points to opposing running backs. They allow the most touchdowns to opposing running backs. 18 on the season. Mike Davis should dominate in this week's matchup. Love the setup for him. The start running backs, along with Mike Davis for me, J.D. McKissic, Giovanni Bernard. McKissic's just been an absolute star in PPR. 29 targets his last two games. Alex Smith is great for dumping off the ball to his running backs, so McKissic and Antonio Gibson should be fantastic this week against the Bengals. Heath, those are the start running backs. The sit running backs for you, Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor, Darrell Henderson. Melvin Gordon has been so frustrating. It's going to continue one more week.
It's going to continue maybe the rest of the season. That this split between he and Philip Lindsay and the fact that the Broncos seemingly fall down by 3 scores every game and then just throw the ball in every position. And then you look at a difficult matchup against the Miami Dolphins. You can't trust any Broncos running backs.
Yep, just very frustrating for the entire Broncos offense. Let's go from the running backs to the quarterbacks. And your start quarterbacks this week, Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, Jameis Winston. Big Ben's on a roll. Is that going to continue?
I think it will. Listen, I was concerned early in the year about what we would see from Ben in games where they were clearly going to win easily. The last 2 weeks, he's thrown 40-plus passes against the Cowboys and Bengals. This Jacksonville defense much better against the run than they are against the pass. I think it's another bang-up week for Big Ben.
Yep, love Big Ben as well. Top 5 quarterback for me also. Let's go to the sick quarterbacks. I got this list for you. Avoiding Tom Brady, Carson Wentz, and Ryan Tannehill. Look, Brady's awesome. It's hard to get away from him. But this Rams matchup, this Rams defense is tough. I think we're going to see Brady struggle like we did 2 weeks ago. Not to the same extent where he was just awful against the Saints, but under 20 fantasy points or maybe 20 fantasy points at most. It's just a tough defense to go against with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. I think we'll see one of the Bucs wide receivers be taken away by Ramsey, and I think that's going to be a tough opportunity for Tom Brady to deliver like we saw last week against the Panthers. From quarterbacks, we go to wide receivers now. Start wide receivers for me, Jacoby Myers, Chase Claypool, and Mike Williams. And Jacoby Myers has been fantastic. He's throwing touchdowns. Maybe he'll even catch a touchdown this week. The Texans defense is bad. Myers has been the apple of Cam Newton's eye. It's a great matchup against the Texans. Love Jacoby Myers as at least a number 3 wide receiver, but maybe a borderline starter in PPR. Sit wide receivers for you. You got Jerry Jeudy, Marquise Brown, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Jerry Jeudy's been great, but not so much this week.
It's a terribly tough matchup against the Miami Dolphins. Xavier Howard, they've got talent on the defensive line, talent in the secondary, and Jerry Jeudy may not have any talent at all at quarterback. And even if Drew Lock is healthy, he hasn't played very well lately. I would like to stay away from all of the Broncos.
Yep, people watching in Denver, we apologize. Heath Cummings not a fan of the Broncos this week. Let's go now to the tight end position, and the starts for you are Hayden, Hurst, Hunter, Henry, and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, and listen, Mark Andrews has been frustrating, but he's a tight end who scores touchdowns. He's playing a very bad defense in the Tennessee Titans, and we did see him get 9 targets in his most recent game, tied for a career high. Hopeful that that's going to continue. This Ravens team has got to figure the passing game out. Andrews is key to that.
All right, I'm just going to stick with the theme. Sit tight ends. Noah Fant, he's on the list along with Mike Gesicki and Robert Tonyan. Hey, Broncos fans, you're going to shut down Mike Gesicki because basically everybody has shut down Mike Gesicki. But Noah Fant is hard to trust right now. Look, quarterback situation, Heath mentioned it. Could be Brett Rippon, could be an injured Drew Lock. Don't like that against the Dolphins. They have given up 3 touchdowns to tight ends in their last 2 games, but it's essentially been backup guys aside from Hunter Henry. And Hunter Henry only had 30 yards receiving in that game against the Dolphins last week. Fant has not scored a touchdown since week 2. Don't expect him to have a big game. Hard to bench, but maybe something you want to consider given the matchup against Miami. There's your starts and sits at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end for week number 11. For Heath Cummings, I'm Jamie Eisberg. Good luck with your lineups. And make sure you check out our podcast as well. Our Fantasy Football Today in 5. You can check it out wherever podcasts are available. Our full-length podcast as well. And don't forget to check us out at CBS Sports HQ for all of your fantasy football information.